Good evening, Solid Grounds. Yay! How we doing tonight? Boy, it's just the brave ones that came out on Halloween, huh? All right. All right. Well, tonight is a poetry open mic night, so you are in for a treat. No tricks here. Going to be some fun stuff. We just want to make sure. Is anybody here for the first time tonight? Yeah, all right. Well, not you. He lied. So anyway, you're here at Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living, and I am the spiritual director of said place, and my name is Gil William Olmsted, and we're a non-denominational center, and we honor all faiths. However, none is required. So tonight we're going to have some fun. Part of what we want to do is honor Dia de los Muertos and our ancestors. And I'm sure some of you have some understanding of that and some background there. I do want to let you know and remind you that we do have bathrooms behind that wall back there. Straight back, and we do have an exit to the left there, and then the one you came in to the right, if you need to move through at some point tonight. Now, we operate on a generosity model, so we really appreciate all of the gifts that you put into the little jar at the front or on the table with the food. Everything is for you to enjoy, but the donations allow us to keep moving forward. So we appreciate that. And now, I think we're going to have Lou give us some instructions as to what's happening tonight, and fill us all in. Are you ready for that, Lou? Now, let me tell you, Lou is officially in charge of coffee at Solid Grounds, but he stepped up his game and found a tie and a coat, and he's taking on some serious jobs here tonight. Thank you, Lou.
You're welcome. So welcome, everybody. I'm so glad we're doing this again. It's been way too long. January was the first time, and here we go again. So Helen is going to play some music for us, and she's going to start us off with some. But before she does, just a little bit about what we're going to do. We're going to have all the poets come up and read for 5 minutes, and the order is an alphabetical order by your first name. So our first three readers tonight are going to be Brian Ash, Iris Gash, and Eileen Gash. And I'm not saying that wrong, but Eileen and Irish. Eileen and Irish. Okay. Iris. Yeah. Aileen. Eileen. I'm sorry. No. It's just a simple-minded master of ceremonies. So, and the J's will come. You're right. J's come before I's, don't they? Okay. So Bryant, James, and Iris. And so why don't the three of you come up and get closer to the stage here? Brian, James, and Iris. And they're all going to, we're going to have everybody do their own bios and read off their own bios and their own introductions, rather than have me ramble on for hours and hours. That won't happen. Okay, so Helen, do you want to start us up? And now, Brian. Brian, Brian Nash.
Thank you.
You can use this or you can use that.
Oh, I'll use that one.
Because you can use that. It's okay.
Awesome. How's that sound? Pretty good? Awesome, awesome. So yeah, I guess I'll do a quick little intro. As he mentioned, my name is Bryant. I am a poet and a lyricist. I've only been writing poetry consistently for about the last year and a half, but I've been a writer my entire life. I'm an avid reader as well, and so that informs a lot of my writing and my writing style. You'll notice in the piece today, a lot of my writing is informed by my faith in God and my relationship with my Creator, and so I use that relationship as a lens to just share my perspective and life experiences. And I say that obviously probably being one of the younger people in the room, and so my life experiences are rather limited, but hopefully from what I share tonight, everybody's able to take a little something of what I hope is a piece of my heart that I'm putting into what I'm writing. So with that, I'll go ahead and get started. This piece is called Captain's Log. Captain's Log, final entry. I am alone in an uncharted region of the galaxy. I keep calling out into the darkness, but space is quiet and heaven has gone to sleep. Light speed has never felt this slow. As I trace her steps across the bridge, I am overcome by fear that I will never fill the seat the way she once did. The literal impressions of her body forever ingrained on her favorite spot on the couch, I refuse to sit there, where she sat and commanded life. My grandmother, my captain. Still, the mission remains to seek out new life and a way back to the people we love. And that's easier said than done. But I am needed in the same way the captain was needed. Every day she lived and breathed, proceeded to exceed the one before. Sorry, guys. Proceeded to exceed the one before in lessons of brightness and mercy and wisdom. Her family trailing behind the wake of stardust that poured out as she moved. I remember the way she moved, but then I can't forget anything, can I? Forgetting would be like the sun failing to set at the end of the day and ruining the moon's night. All disrespect and none of the memorialization her path through the night sky deserves and begets. I remember her strong, calloused hands that walloped as much as they cared. I remember her laughter, the sound of adventure, shakes from her belly that held worlds that once you'd seen them, you didn't dare leave them. I remember oatmeal. Not that it was our last meal together, but that it was quiet and consistent. And she would always wait for me to finish, and not an impatient, hostile waiting that awkwardly makes you chew faster, but a quiet, brooding one that was as much, what should we do today, as it was, I wonder what things she is facing and if she is more scared of dying or simply not being here to help me pilot this ship forever after. And now that I know, I wish that I had known. She must not have had the words to tell me. See, I have only just learned the language of eternity. But she was living there, staring out into the far reaches of the galaxy that were meant to become our secret place. I can't help but think maybe the collective of her soul, mind, heart, and will are scattered among the stars, making the whole universe a secret date, waiting for me to finish my oatmeal and start the chase. If only someone had solved the evil of warp speed. If only the universe would for once conspire with me to commit the crime of this century and turn back time so I could stand sentry over her and deny the clock, evict the villain, avert the disaster that met the enterprise. If only I could believe the truth I so quickly attempt to evangelize. Everything happens for a reason, we tell ourselves. God will redeem this season, we tell ourselves. Beauty from ashes, we tell ourselves. Life after the fire flashes, if only. If only continuing to live without was as easy as letting time pass us. But instead, we must contend with questions like, why do the good die young? I think they die to protect them from falling into the hands of evil. But that feels so secretly evil in and of itself. Like when you convince a child to trade the TV remote for a toy version so you can watch your favorite show, or you wrap a puppy's pill in a peanut butter pocket and play coy. The whole time what was done for good comes at the cost of the smallest slice of my trust in the universe, a universe that I so desperately need to be good. Or like when winter comes and I act all excited with people who want to head up to the mountains and tear up the snow. The whole time I've been on my knees begging God to let it be a light winter. I would say that makes me a slight sinner, but she didn't believe in those. With her, there was no dipping your toes. There was only all in. And that's what made her magnificent to all those who had the extraterrestrial pleasure of beholding her. All of her warmth and folds and sugar-coated kisses that made the heavens seem small and her arms seem infinite. See, maybe the universe doesn't shrink when we lose someone. Maybe our hearts just grow really, really big because that's where they go to rest, granting us their celestial powers to soothe insignificance away. I don't know if that's better than her, though. And even if I could have her back, what would it be? Or would it be just so that she could die again? What torturous vanity must be inside me to even consider that thought? She would say, "The Lord gives and the Lord taketh away," and look up to the sky in some all-knowing way. And right at that moment, as if by divine appointment, some supernova somewhere in the universe would explode, and we'd see the light of its explosion, those atoms soon to be given new life in the birth of another beautiful thing. And so maybe that beautiful thing is me. Who can say? I walk a little heavier now, but with eyes that are a little wider, more attuned to the flashing of supernovas around me, that I might not miss other people's pain resounding in eternal motions. And so maybe that's what I hold on to as the warp drives begin to warm up and my resolve begins to form as I take her seat. So see, this enterprise is unbowed by the weight of the darkness we are stepping into, because my beacon burns bright with the light of what she was. Her absence may be even more powerful than her presence. Our lives defined by her very essence. Though I may never know why she was taken, I am confident in what I was given. Her heart, her mind, her soul, and her will in every frontier. End log.
Thank you. Beautiful job, Brian. Aileen, would you like to come up and be our next poet?
Hi, this is my first time here, but my late husband used to play at Solid Grounds quite a bit, back when it was at St. Stephen's, I guess, and somehow I never got there. I always had schedule conflicts. But anyway, I'm here now, and Billy Brown had let us know that this was going on, so I'm grateful for that. And I've been a poet in the community for few decades. I usually see Lou in a little box on Zoom at the Fixed and Free readings every month. But since my husband died 2.5 years ago, I really have not been able to write poetry, and I've only written one piece since. So I do have that. But before that, just two very short pieces. Dia de los Muertos is my favorite holiday, so. Calaveras. Calaveras are empty for good reason. They don't need those silly thoughts that fill our living heads. They don't need our eyes which see only illusions after all. It's easier to dance without the dragging flesh. Their bones clack joyfully, weightlessly. And so since my husband died, one reason I'm not having the mental space to write, I guess, is I have to do everything he used to do as well as everything I used to do around the house and yard. So here's what I was doing last July. Mowing at midnight. Everything is odd and out of place still this third summer of finding myself here on this land that owns me, alone, fulfilling my duty to stay and survive. This ground is merciless and thirsts for my care and drains my soul, but gives back in fruit, verdolagas, quelites, and in morning peace and thriving birdsong. The black widow at the spigot greets me each night. I take care with my hand when I come to water. She slips back to her cranny home, and there we are together. We must build for ourselves.
Thank you so much, Eileen. Next up, we have James or Jamie Collins.
Okay, I hope we're going to try this mic out. Is this pretty good? Everybody's sounding good?
Maybe closer.
Closer? Well, this gives me a chance to talk. So my wife and I moved here just that's 8 weeks ago. And, well, Brian did all right. I don't know what that's, okay, that's good. Come on, Brian, what the hell? I need your voice, I think. Okay, how's that sound? All right, so I've been a poet a long time. So my wife and I just moved here, and we're kind of still scattered. I had to dig through boxes to find stuff. And we'll, anyway. So my dad, after being published at 16 in a bunch of magazines in my 20s, my dad said, you're going to need to get a job. Oh, okay, yeah. So anyway, this is about my dad, called Acceptance. My father is buried under a bed of blue sky. He can no longer lift sheets of clouds to perform any peekaboo magic tricks. And I accept I may never taste another tomato under this sun like the ones he grew. A rumbling, distant thunder could be my old man snoring or complaining to God how short life is. All those evenings he worked left me with no memory of his voice saying good night. Perhaps that was a gift he gave me so I could discover the voice of my inner dad. My father is buried in my heart where I can't place any flowers under the strands of my DNA to soften his stoic John Wayne style. And I accept. A part of him flows in my dark rivers of blood and in the hairy roots on my face. His gruff, enchanting laugh still echoes in caves and caverns under my skin. Uncomfortable beads of sweat roll down my cheeks, reminding me of tears he could not cry. My father is buried in this ground, and there's no magic ladder to climb down to hear his Archie Bunker voice. So I accept. He can't make the grave into his home with unlocked doors and his famous shrimp creel. My shadow falls across his grave, and moments tick and tock like the soundtrack in a Bergman film. Now I hear those boring yet deadly bombs of time approaching, tick, tock. If his spirit can watch the souls he created who still run on this playground, I hope he accepts how the angels might teach him to do better. And if he takes a moment to look through the veil, sees me still tossing my music and my words into the air, maybe he knows he did all right. I got a couple here. This is called my epitaph. I'm going to try to edit as I read because it's a little about the same. This is my epitaph. Another karmic crash, and I'm in a New Age workshop trying to heal myself. I know there's little truth in advertising, but maybe I could become an angel in this once-a-month seminar. Could happen. But all my years on the bottom of this ocean of air, outfitted with the standard deep dimensional diving equipment of body and ego, I don't see how I'll ever fly with these wings that look more like dented fenders. Somewhere in the fumes of becoming an angel and my skepticism, I sat in the class. Last month's lesson was healing the fear of death. She approached the subject as gentle as a ghost. The homework was to write my own epitaph. That death happens to others is a human delusion my ego still perpetuates. But I did read Pierre Teilhard de Chardin in the 70s. I know that I am a spirit having a human experience. As each persons recite their words, I'm impressed with the poetic and poignant phrases. Terror begins to gnaw at my persona with every new etching spoken by voices on their paper stones. Silence delivers a gentle panic attack called "It Must Be My Turn." With angelic compassion, the teacher says, "So, Jamie, I walk up to your tombstone. Tell me what I see carved on the granite that rests on top of your grave." Taking a deep breath, I read, "I am not here." Thank you, thank you. All right, so this is a second book. This is personally my favorite. This is about transitions, and this is called Ravens on Blue Paper. I dare you to read what ravens paint with their black silhouettes across the pages of blue open sky. That language reveals secrets and tells a mysterious truth all along the fragile paper of heaven. Any words or lines you discover are only the shadows and the sun that they write inside you. That small feather of freedom that sits in your heart can be found, but only freed on the great airy blue. Life is released by the black of wings, death by the black of bones. But since all stories are written by our breath, there is flight even in the ashes of life, because you have not left. You have arrived. Okay, it's been a few years since I read this poem about my younger brother dying. So let's try it. Called Traces, a poem for Chuck, 2010. After 11 years, I'm flying back to Florida. I hate flying. One of my younger brothers died suddenly. I hate dying. Standing at Tampa airport pickup area, I looked out glass doors from my older brother. For a moment, some in the crowd held arms out in the air like wailing mourners at funeral pyres along the Ganges. Young lovers collided in a joyful embrace. Older couples kissed and walked on. Some held hands, some didn't. As the crowd dispersed, I left an old guy with shockingly gray hair standing by a sporty red car. His wave shifted me from revelry to recognition. "Man, you've lost a lot of weight." "Yeah, and I got old." "Whose car is this?" "Casey's, my son." We drove across the bay to St. Petersburg. "Service is tomorrow." can you speak? Whenever death pays the family a visit, the writer gets the eulogy. Dad, Mom, and now Chuck. My family was disappearing. My brother says, lunch or Chuck's house? The heartbeat hum of tires on asphalt was not welcoming me home, but singing a bumpy lament called One More Hard Lesson in Letting Go. Chuck's house, I speak softly. Chuck, the only human I knew and never saw angry. Single man, hobby musician, vinyl record collector, and borderline hoarder. Chuck lost his job in the 2008 collapse. His house was in a foreclosure. The place was a wreck. I wandered through the mess like a lost time traveler, surveying an accident he could not prevent. His mom and dad cast off decor hit me with flashbacks. Didn't Anne Marie and I make out on his couch in high school? What did you say? I heard myself asking. Take whatever you want, my older brother says, separated in another room. From the little boy I helped raise, or from the younger brother who owed me money, what can you take from a man's life? There I stood, arms outstretched, only holding air, mourning along the river of life. And missing my brother. Chuck was in a new place without a body, where we can't trade adventures over a beer or play guitars. If he still stammers in his spirit speak, I hope the angels will listen to his quiet story. The only footprint Chuck left in this world was on my heart. The rest was crap. One funny, gentle soul was gone, and like a wave receding back into the ocean, he only left faint traces. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, James. That was beautiful. Next up, we have Iris.
Okay. Well, here I am. It seems like I've been gone for a while, and I think that from what I've heard, many people leave for a while, leave their writing, leave their poetry, can't just do it, can't find their heart to do it. But, you know, we go on, we live, and I decided to, and I'll just talk over here. I probably can, yeah, thanks. I kind of worked a little bit on a poem I had written and submitted to Fixed and Free a while ago. It sits there. And I chose to look at an ancestry that I do not know. I just have a picture of her. If you want to look at her, she's all the way to the left on the table in a kind of a red wicker kind of frame. And she sort of has infused my soul to find out about the past, if not about her exactly, but where I come from. I don't love ancestry. It stuck me at first you're like an Ashkenazi, Eastern Europe Jew, and I went, that's that doesn't work. Where am I from? What country am I from? Who were my people? I'd do better, I figured, at going on finding my roots, but I don't think I'm all that exciting a guest these days. Who are you? Who are your ancestors? I need to find her name, her life, who she is. This woman in a black and white photo. She wears a long dark skirt and soft shirt, its collar folded up in a sharp embrace. A long chain rests above her breasts. She places her broom down, standing quietly with two little boys who lean against the steps. Formal and polite, the blonde-haired boys are as unidentified as she is. Maybe they are neighbors, maybe school children, maybe fighters' boys who stop by after school. My ancestor rolls her hands down from the wrists. It hurts to hold them this way, I think. She may suffer from arthritis. I've seen different relatives make this gesture. Maybe we are rolling bread dough. The women of her time work hard. Household jobs, their brooms, they're sweeping easy compared to work they do in the cemeteries at night. Here they watch over the spirits of the dead. They clean the wood of the simple graves. They water flowers already dead. They water anyway. They finish duties and still their breaths. My ancestor chants with the others, chants sounds like frightened wolves, pitched higher and higher. Together the women have power. Stars crawl behind clouds when they sing. My ancestor, the woman on the steps, and in that picture, has a boxer's face, a slightly squished nose. She's not delicate. She has strength in a soft, muscular face. Her skin is smooth with planes framed by angles. She has lovely skin, olive-colored like many of our family, my father, my sister. She's from the Dershowitz group, my father's side. I've learned that from a cousin on my mother's side who is almost firm in her denial of this ancestor as an Ellentuck. My ancestor never lets her roles in life stopping her from listening, as she now listens to the chatterings of the two boys. She asks what hurts them. She may be Russian or Belarusian or Polish. My ancestors self-identified as fast as countries changed borders, never knowing if they were Hungarian, Lithuanian, German, Carpathian, Ukrainian, Polish, or Russian. All are Ice Age survivors and musicians whose chords sang sorrow. When she gives the boys crust of a roll, she tells them its dryness soon will pass. Her admonition to hold the bread in their mouth reveals her hope, her resilience, her posture. She calms the dead spirits, makes every living creature's life easier. Thank you.
Next, we have Marilyn O'Leary.
Let's see. This is a book that my poetry group wrote about the pandemic because we didn't want to forget it. Do you wanna- Is that better? Yeah. And this is called "It Was Said." And the Lord visited upon his people a pandemic, and some of his people denied it and were unprepared, and their leaders were afraid. They didn't have enough ventilators or respirators or masks or PPE, and the doctors and nurses cared for patients, and some of them died, patients, doctors, and nurses. The people comforted themselves with thoughts of good that came in the midst of this plague: cleaner air, cleaner canals and seas, quiet sidewalks and streets, people singing from their balconies, playing music for each other, finding delight once again in books, music. Many of the people wrote poems, and they were comforted. I think it's interesting because we have forgotten so much, at least I have, about what the pandemic was like. And it's interesting to go back and think about what it was like to live during that. Is there a little ping? A little ping going on?
Yeah, this mic stand is not cooperating with us.
Is this better?
Just as close as you can.
Okay, as close as I can. All right. Okay, is that okay?
Yeah.
It-
Can we just take a pause?
Go ahead. Yeah, yeah.
For us, and let's get-
Okay. Is this going to be our break?
Take a pause.
A pause, this is a pause, okay.
We can do that. You want to do that? Here's the best thing for that.
Yeah, give us 5, I guess. But Ellen, you can do this.
Let's hear another song.
Okay, this seems better. By the way, this is my sister, Helen. We live together. We have a good time. Thank you for all your playing. After my husband passed away, and it's now been about 13 years, doesn't seem that long at all. I think those of you who've lost somebody know how it just doesn't seem very long. And so after he died, I wrote a poem. My thought was to try to write a poem a day, but I wrote as many as I could for a while. So this is a few of those poems. And the book itself is called No One to Wake. So let's see if I can do this. He died on March 8th. This was on April 1st. April 1st. The morning is still dark. I don't want you to visit to scare me. I would never scare you. What am I afraid of? Ghosts? You as a ghost? The ghost of what? I want you with me still. I feel your love, protection, even your advice. I've been told your passing was like a supernova, exploding love. I still feel it. I felt your arms around me as I tried to go back to sleep. I would never scare you. I see you in the morning sun, feathering the clouds in pink, in chamisa in our yard turning green. I know you're all around, keeping me safe, watching over me. And then this one is 10 days later, April 10th. Look, I wanted to say to you yesterday, look at the mountains. Clouds filtered in canyons and behind crags to outline each feature in ways previously undisclosed. Clouds rolled over summits and down rock cliffs, revealing the beauty, the majesty of the mountain. When I stopped crying for you yesterday, I saw you standing stalwart near me. It didn't feel like my imagination. You told me you would always be with me. You who claimed to be an unbeliever, you believed in love. The clouds have left the mountains covered with snow. It melts and seeps into the earth, greening up the trees. I know where to find spring. I know. And then this one is October 7th, so that was several months after he passed. And this is called October 7. Balloons again. It must be October. I have a headache and the damn balloons are up again and you're dead and I haven't ridden in a balloon since my 50th birthday when we went up with that friend of yours, the doctor who left his wife and her lovely crystal stemware to live with the woman who had had his little baby. Well, we went up and came down. I don't remember much of a ride, but at least we didn't get caught on hot electrical wires, dumped out on the ground unceremoniously, and at least you didn't leave me or I you, and there was no surprise baby in the picture. We made it through 50 years. I held on for dear life and finally learned to enjoy the ride. And you, who never seemed afraid, left, using your breath to lift off. I waved and waved until you floated out of sight. Let's see. I want to read, excuse me. And this is how I remember Jim, and I think this is pretty common too. And it's called The Bike Path. He was a great bicyclist and sold bicycles and loved them. The Bike Path. Today your memory surprises me, a bicyclist appearing on the bike path past the duck pond on the way to the South Valley. A perfect double. He, you, are in your prime, like they told us we would be in heaven. It's true for you. You are at your best. It's the muscles in your legs that get me. I was always attracted to your body. From the time you were a boy, smooth back curving in, strong legs, your own walk. I don't remember the first time I saw you. I don't remember a time I didn't know you. One day you were in my life. You appeared like today on the bike path. How I romanticize you, but why not? Why remember the pain, the sickness, feelings of failure, of loss, of despair, when you lost weight, when your body seemed to fail you, when chemo made you sick? Of course I remember that, but I also remember the opposite, and it was just as true, just as real. Even now, when I think I'm alone, I come upon you. This is called Lilacs Out of the Dead Land. And the name of an album that somebody gave us. And it starts with this quote from T.S. Eliot. April is the cruelest month, breeding lilacs out of the dead land, mixing memory and desire. An exchange student of my husband's brought Greek food to us and Greek music, the album Lilacs Out of the Dead Land. We laughed, ate, turned the music up loud. Even when we gave away our records and turntable, we saved that album because it made us feel the desire that bloomed in our lives in the spring. When I was a child, lilacs meant May altars at St. Peter's grade school, fresh and chaste voices singing hymns to Mary and a virginal May Queen to place a garland of flowers on the head of the statue of the Blessed Mother. When I was older, scent of lilacs meant a refreshing of desire, yearning for love, excitement, possibility. After my husband died, I planted 2 lilac bushes, reminders of innocence and youth, desire and loss. One of the women in our poetry group passed away a couple of years ago, and her name is Mary Dudley. She was a wonderful poet. Some of you may know Mary. And so I wrote this after she passed. And it's about the 4 of us going up to Colorado to write poetry and have a good time. To Mary on her passing. That weekend in Crestone, we avoided bears while slinking back to our rooms from the cafe where you stayed late to watch football. We felt at one with nature while adopting the earth sign ritual of hyperphagia, snacking on potato chips and Cheetos, cake and ice cream. We read William Stafford and decided on his example to write about what makes us happy. But I couldn't. In the midst of our weekend together where we laughed and walked and wrote, I couldn't write about what makes me happy because I didn't know how to write about just now, except to name Cheetos, bears, an architecturally designed mountain condo with simple bedrooms and an expansive mountain views, weather blowing in and out, and this tiny community that welcomes a Zen center, Buddhist center, Hindu temple, funeral pyre, UFO watchtower, and ziggurat. We can't go back now. Posey sold the condo and can't leave her spouse. Julie finds it difficult to travel. I don't like to drive in the snow. And you, well, you have died. I hope you enjoy a period of hyperphagia before a long sleep, and that you send me someone else to laugh with. And know that Cheetos, bears, mountain views, and laughing during poetry group make me happy. Let's see. Do y'all know what hyperphagia is? Okay, you know the fat bear contest That's all about hyperphagia. All right, I think I have, are you keeping time? This seems a lot longer than 5 minutes.
Yep.
Okay.
You're done.
I'm done? I'm not ready yet. One more. Sorry. One more. This is called Goodbye. Nothing like reading a poem to set your mind at rest. Nothing like a poem to give you a reason to stay and play with words and rhymes and lines. Even poems about death make me glad to be alive and are beautiful to me, as death is in a certain way at a certain time, when a person is ready and wants to leave this life, its beauty, its time, its struggle. Let me say goodbye again, as every year, every day, I say goodbye to you. Good and bye, a wealth of farewells with and without tears. Those of us still here stand waving at the sky. Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn. I'm going to call up our host, Gil Olmsted, Reverend Gil Olmsted. He's going to talk to us a little bit before we take an intermission. I did want to let everybody know, though, that Gil is also doing double duty as our cameraman tonight. We're running on a really tight crew for Solid Grounds. There's 3 of us. Susan, who's the impresario who brings everybody in here, who's doing the sound. Gil doing the camera, and Marilyn got roped in when she arrived with me to set up all the snacks and the coffee. So, Gil, why don't you tell the folks about us? Oh, and one other thing. Well, there's always one other thing. Yeah, I'm not Columbo, but there's always one more thing. Is that this is all recorded, and it'll be on YouTube, and you could see yourself later. It's on the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living YouTube channel.
Yep. And you can find it on our website and on Solid Grounds, Facebook, and it's everywhere. So we just want to invite you all to take a break, stand up, stretch, move around, get a little more dessert, get a hold of some coffee, and we'll come back and say a couple words and get started. So we've got about 10 minutes or so. Thank you. We'll be dancing now. All right, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. I understand we have a full slate of poets still left to go. So, this is exciting. Sometimes at this point in the program, I say some words of wisdom, but that's all you've been hearing tonight. So I think we'll just keep listening to those words of wisdom. I do want to let people know that next week we have a group called No Strings Attached. I think there's some irony in that since they seem to all be playing string instruments. But they're really good, actually. They've been here before. We're excited to have them. So put that on your calendar. We'll look forward to seeing you then. And Lou, are you ready to get us started? All right.
I'm very happy to call up our next poet, Robert Weber, and he's coming up now.
Good evening. I want to thank Lou for inviting me to this distinguished group of poets and musicians. I believe poetry should be not just a I am aware of your theme, and I'll try to connect it a little bit. And what I want to do is to talk about an octopus. And I'm going to ask you at the end of this poem to wave your arms like an octopus and to chant with me what I chant at the end. Now, the octopus is a solitary creature, so as you wave your arms, be very careful you do not entangle them with the person sitting next to you. Okay? Okay. An octopus in Mr. Darwin's tree. At the top of Mr. Darwin's tree of life, I touch a leaf on a limb. Looking down, far down, 4 billion years ago, organic molecules court in a primal soup, forming a quasi-self-replicating cell for the taproot of Mr. Darwin's tree. My eye climbs the tree, and I see vertebrate scaffolding, a branch of apes with reaching fingers and malleable minds playing with sticks and touch to conjure tools. Then the human branch, Homo sapiens, gifted with introspection, voice, generative images, a palette with which to paint emotions, inner life describable in sentences that speak aloud or in a skull's inner voice. Gazing outward across the tree of life toward other living forms, who can I party with? In the distance, parallel branches of high intelligence gyrate in their own disco. Octopus looks my way. Octopus lacks my language, but octopus has its own codes, changing colors rapidly to fit a shifting landscape. 3 hearts beating in a workable rhythm, pumping a blood not red, but copper blue. 8 arms, each with independent nervous systems, a head with central nervous system loosely coupled to senses and to arms. Octopus has fewer neurons than we humans have, but a different wiring diagram and different neurotransmitter chemistries. It can open jars and build a camouflage house around itself. Striking is the difference in lifespan. A few years at most for octopus and many, many years for us. If it lived as long as humans, could it don a smock to brush changing body colors and shadows into art? Could it sketch itself with its own ink? Would the octopus mind show us how to rewire a nervous system so that independent intelligence resides in our arms? What if our arms, hands, and fingers played a Beethoven piano sonata without a central brain's effort? Or as lovers, we embraced with 8 arms and kissed simultaneously, all places of a partner's body, French kiss with 100 suckers. Nice image. Might octopus take our longevity and genes for vocalization and language and create new music with 8 arms and many suckers on each arm while producing a light show with different changing colors? A disco scene delightful for the young. What if a god of our combined capabilities made art? An old gray octopus with a lined face and a long seaweed beard, pointing toward a reclining figure with a human face and languid, reaching arms, perhaps painted by Michael Octangelo. All the creatures of Mr. Darwin's tree are now in dance and song, chanting in chorus, "I am become life, creator of worlds." This is distinct from Robert Oppenheimer's quote about the creation of the atomic bomb, "I am become death, destroyer of words." Let us listen instead to the tree of life. I am become life. Come with me. I am become life, creator of worlds. I am become life, creator of worlds. Thank you. I thought about a memorial piece. My friend Georgia Santa Maria died recently, a grandson died recently, and too many people I know died recently, so this is a little different. Ballerina in the air, poetry with motion, a snapshot of time, quick frozen. A dog floating in air to catch a frisbee. A dancer after a hip transplant, feet immobile, just watch her hands. Poetry of commotion when the motion is in a moment's turmoil. Poetry in bad motion, a child falling from a tree. A free verse business letter that's an eviction notice. A soldier waltzing through a minefield to the meter of death. Now that dog of long ago that caught frisbees in the air is in the car with me. We're going to the vet where she'll be euthanized. She looks up at me, muzzle snow dirt gray, body shaking, eyes in the color of pain. There is no rhyme, no reason in this verse, unless there is poetry in the motion of love's last look, in the motion of love's last look. Now, let me finish with what is a writer's ideal, using as few words as possible to say as much as possible. I am going to give you a one-word poem that I think captures the existentialist nature of life as we live it today. Me, 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 Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Next up is Martha Hurd. And Martha, I'm so glad you're here. She's a member of my biweekly poetry group. It's Michelle Otero's group, but she lets us play.
So is this about right for, okay. Well, I want to thank Lou. Lou encourages me. I think I'm a poet, but I don't know. I write poetry, but then I hesitate to really read it to people or do something with it. So this is really good. And he urged me once again, and I go, okay, thank you, Lou. Okay. This poem is called Jane's Hands, and I also do photography. And I put some pictures over there, so it's Jane and two hands there. One she made, and then the other one is her hand. So it's on the right side of the table, from the way I'm looking. So she did die, but this is before that. She died 2 years later. Okay. I am sitting next to my sister Jane at a round table in the dining room of her latest home. Anita, her daughter from Sweden, is with us. Jane is in a wheelchair, fidgeting with a white crocheted star, a tan button, a piece of red rickrack, all sewed on a blue denim cloth. Her long fingers grasp, rub, twist as she talks to them in a low voice. Perhaps she tells them stories she told her grandchildren of growing up on a farm in Texas, playing in the alfalfa field in front of our house, riding Sunny Girl around the dairy barn, or swimming in the cow tank. Now she listens to stories we read her from the books she once read to her grandchildren. A sunny October day in Anoka. Jane loves the fall. Let's go out on the patio, I say. Jane hesitates, clasps the arms of her chair. No, no, no. Her fear of falling claims her. We help her go outside. She relaxes in the golden light, watches red and gold leaves float to the ground. Anita raises her violin to her chin and begins to move the bow across the strings, playing music her mother heard so many years ago. Jane's elegant fingers curl as she lays them in her lap. Hands that caressed her loved ones, cured illnesses, fixed broken toys, sewed dresses for her 3 girls, baked birthday cakes, and decorated for Christmas, her favorite season. These strong hands held twin babies, paddled kayaks down the Mississippi with her husband Gerald, swung golf clubs and tennis rackets. These capable hands meticulously measured chemicals, typed reports, made spreadsheets, wrote in journals, and jotted notes to keep track of family. These hands placed music on stands so her girls could play what she longed to learn. Now, sitting in her wheelchair on this special October day, listening to her daughter play, Jane smiles. Her eyes soften. She is in another time in this time. She raises her hands up. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha.
Thank you.
Now we have Terry Dunbar.
How's that? Can you hear me? I'm Terry, retired biologist and high school science teacher and college professor. And before I get into the poetry, I wanted to tell you that just got back Wednesday from Oaxaca in Mexico. And I got to tell you that if you ever want to see a Day of the Dead celebration, you got to go there. You got to go to the source, and you got to go to where they really take it to heart and are very serious about it. It's a heck of a lot of fun. The energy is amazing. So my mother didn't have the educational advantages that I've had in my life. Smart woman that just never got to go to college. She had her own way of doing things. This one's called fly swatter. You can keep your sheathed dagger and dispense with your Saturday night special. My mother was more than secure with only a fly swatter. You were a brave housefly that dared to trespass. Or for that matter, any kid in that house who chose not to cross the line, chose to cross the line. At least the flies had escape maneuvers, affording a fighting chance. Holding the fly swatter conferred superpowers. One slight misbehavior and she became a laser-guided missile, homing. No place to hide. When not in pursuit of miscreants, she was happy to cook and bake to the delight of all the fortunate included in her sphere. If only she'd wielded it more widely. She didn't take her fly swatter with her in the front seat of our '56 Chevy as she drove purposely through town. One wonders what crimes could have been deterred and what realms conquered. Thank you. I lost a friend, a good high school buddy, a long time ago. He had schizophrenia that the voices told him to do crazy things, including kill himself. It's called The Arrow. My friend and I, back in the decade of dreams, our high school library, a lunchtime sanctuary, art, literature, and most dangerously, ideas. We felt the pulse and followed the course of events. Melville, Dickens, and Conrad, digested and discussed. I, Thoreau, to his Emerson, both as awkward and shy as Henry David himself. We took in the issues, sensed the arc, but didn't know how to act. And of course jumped into action anyway, with blithe, oblivious teenage confidence, in virtuous pursuit of well-intentioned, well, we weren't sure what. And the ideas kept falling our way, illuminated by the 6 o'clock news. What my friend suspected was the power in the arrow of H.D.'s prose. Gandhi read his God within. And not long after, it mattered tremendously that another American felt the rumble and thunder, a thinker and preacher who prayed and traded in the underground commerce of dreams, juggled Gandhi in the air, and reasoned that power in the face of power yields only violence and suffering. But faith in nonviolence vanquishes hate, and peaceful souls in numbers move mountains. If he had lived, would my buddy be the progress junkie that I am? Would he expect, as I don't, a prompt perfection? Rather, the inevitability of the gradual and the cumulative power of the relentless. I only hope he would know the full measure of what it meant to dip our toes into the tributaries that went on to feed the flood. Thank you. So I mourn those deaths, but I'm a biologist and see things dying around me. I mourn all the creatures of the earth and the devastation that's happened because of climate change. This one's called Lifted and Gone. I hiked to refill the tank. A trail is a string from an unseen puppeteer. A slideshow experience depicting so many ways to be alive. We naturalists tend to note the losses, defining diminishing counts, seeing less nature in nature. Less and less of more and more of what we love. Lifted and gone. Abruptness of grasshoppers startle, steady sawing of the cicadas. Birdsong, still melodic but less frequent. The heartbreak of slow declines, then absence. What's not seen enough is then nearly forgotten. The ants and the horned toads that plod in their pursuit. The furious velvet ant, always in a hurry to sting its prey into unconscious oblivion. And what of the cuddly hog-nosed snake? And where have you gone, cedar waxwing, so sculpted and painted, whose elegance blessed us with your brief sporting stay, gorging on red berries? How could you drop us from your frenetic itinerary? The leafy branches of the pyracanthus are lonely without you. Plucked by drought, lifted and gone, a whirlwind's fury, spun into what? Another dimension? To appear again with another year's not really satisfying rainy season? Or gone forever? Say gone forever, out loud. Gone forever. Feel the words inside you. This one sort of has something to do with loss and mourning, but it's just one I'd like to read to share with you. It's called Cobblestone. 3 months out from a cardiac procedure, I paused to take a picture of steps leading to the university area, Old Salamanca. Then run to catch up with my wife, well up the road by now. No shortness of breath. I feel only the shortness of life. That I may not get back to Spain again, where no number of days is ever enough. On another continent, cancer eats away at a friend's digestive tract, and arteries clog in several hearts that I hold dear. I stop frequently now and look at the varied patterns of stone. I pull out the tiny pocket dictionary and look up the word for cobblestone, empedrada. I sense the presence through the soles of my shoes. I look down, breathe deeply, aware that my heart is completely full. Thank you.
I'd like to call up another local Albuquerque poet, Teresa Gallion.
Is this okay? Yeah. Okay. My name is Teresa Gallion, and I am an Albuquerque poet since the 90s. Just brief background on me. I am a seeker who is a poet working on finding their way spiritually back to the arms of spirit. So most all of my work has an underlying spiritual overtone. I've published 5 books of poetry, the latest being Come Egypt. I went to Egypt in 2022, and it had such an impact on me that I wrote a whole book of poetry on it. So I'm going to read a couple of new pieces that may go into my next book, and then one piece from Come Egypt. The Tale of Light. Do not be jealous of your happiness. There is an ecstatic mountain that wants to nourish your soul. You need to go there. Start your walk at daybreak when radiance hugs the ground. Walk slowly between light streams. Do not be swayed by judgmental stones. Stay focused on your ascent. There is a bucket overflowing with joy. It waits patiently to merge with you. Stay open to an endless possibility of bliss. The brighter the lights shine, the more pleasure you will feel. Walk back down the mountain. Smile at all the Homo sapiens. They will stare in awe at your glow and know not why. Dinner of words. Cup your lips around the words. Chew slowly to experience the full flavor. Swallow the blended words and savor the wonderful taste as it rolls over the back of your tongue. Enjoy a dinner of words. Divine flavors blend to tease and fill the stomach of your soul. Only a word chef may compete for your taste buds. Only biting verbs will make the cut and dribble down your shirt. The stains form unspoken art. Reserved divine word shells will be able to catch words and release phrases that massage the soul. A peasant wordsmith may miss this mystical experience. Her mouth will be wide open, ready to take in any word crumbs left over, filled with endless possibility. A thousand steps. Love is 1,000 steps plus one. Let's start walking now to get ahead of those billion lanterns lighting up the sky. You are my anchor as I walk this pathway. I will only be afraid if I cannot feel your presence. I am bound to your commitment to stay close to me through all the shadows and valleys that burn. The pulse of the infinite hugs the chambers of my soul. I feel one with the undefinable spark of light from spirit. A symphony of silence touches me. I want to dance with the light, embrace the sound current, and feel love run through me. And this piece is from Come Egypt. It's my favorite piece in the book. I had the wonderful experience of being able to float down the Nile River on an Egyptian yacht for 4 days. I think I'd like to go back to Egypt just to do that again. But more importantly, the temples and tombs that I saw were absolutely amazing and will be forever imprinted on my brain. This is called The River Still Flows. My walking meditation draws me to the spirit of the Rio Grande, soothing in the morning light. I feel regal after the benediction of an Egyptian massage. No words to adequately describe the ancient hold of energy of temple ruins and tombs, unearthed in all their glory, tease my many lifetimes sitting here beside the river. I am remarkably blessed here in the bosque with a wave of New Mexico love light surrounding me. I gaze the eloquence of delightful cottonwood as it sings in green lyrics all around the river and me. I could shout my gratitude over and over again, and that would not be sufficient to express my joy to be home in my beloved New Mexico, reflecting on my journey. I touch the Rio Grande, step out of my body, into the Nile River. I feel the weight of 4,000 years speak to me in tongues I can understand when it tells me I am still here. Mankind may pollute and abuse me, cause a temporary flu, but cannot destroy me. I will be here when all the pathetic souls of earth leave the planet, for I am eternal. I am the key of life. I am the fluid of life. I am the goddess of energy. I will survive another 4,000 years. I will still be here. My soul feels the cold vigor of those years making me tremble in the magnitude of those words. It is the power of earth to tell the story in generational waves as we repeat the cycles of life and death, and the river still flows. Coming back into my body, I sit by the Rio Grande, run my fingers across the water, feel the reconnection between the Nile River and the Rio Grande and the essence of a river's flow. Thank you.
Very nice, Teresa. I'd like to call up the shy poet, Dave Comnick.
Hi. Oh my, what an amazing evening. And I feel so honored to have heard so many beautiful poems. And I'm humbled. Wow. And I am shy. I don't normally like to get up in front of people and speak in front of crowds. Thank you. A little bit tall. Thank you. Gosh. I'm going to tell you the truth. I didn't want to do this. I've never written poetry before in my life. And I asked my best friend Laura, who's sitting there, if she would read this for me. And when we were on break, my wonderful and dear friend Grace, where's Grace? There she is. Everyone knows Grace. And she said, no, Dave, don't ask Laura to read your poem. You should read it. So here I am, Grace. Here I am, Laura. Thank you. It's very unusual for me. And this is new, but I kind of thought, I'm going to write a poem about my life because I don't know what to write a poem about. And my life over the last year has been very tumultuous. And sadly, it has not been what I expected, where I expected to be at this point in my life. Last year, I experienced heartbreak like I've never felt in my life. I had a birthday. Last week, I turned 64. And I thought, here I am. I'm 64 years of age, starting over. And I'm sure a lot of you probably have had that type of heartbreak. And I didn't know how to begin or what to do or how to write a poem. And so I thought, I'm just going to try and start somewhere. And so I wrote a poem about what my life has been about and what I've gone through. And honestly, I wrote it 3 times. And I thought, no, it's not good enough. It's not creative enough. It's not fun. It's not cool or funky. And so I gave them to Laura, and I said, read the 3rd one I wrote, which was a little more poetic. But I went back to the 1st one, and Laura doesn't know this. And Laura has never seen this one. She saw the last 2 that I wrote. But I think the 1st one was the best because it was real and honest. So I'm going to try. Please hang in there with me. Here I go. And I entitled it Fire and Freedom. And this is for my 64th birthday. I was born into fire, the kind that promised salvation, but preached damnation instead. Hell was hot, they said, and I was already halfway there. That's a heavy sentence for a small boy who already knew he was different. So I learned early, smile for heaven, hide on earth. I prayed loud, I sang louder. I waited for God to fix what I had been told was broken. Then love came with a prayer I didn't expect. I married a woman who said, "Don't worry, Dave, we'll pray the gay away." Well, that prayer must have landed in God's spam folder because it never worked. Here I am. But from that prayer came two miracles. Joshua and Christina, my kids. Proof that love still blooms in strange soil. Fast forward through the decades of pretending, of performing, of being the man they wanted, not the man that I was. Then came love, real love. At 27 years of age, at 27 years of that love, until one August day when everything cracked wide open, he fell in love with someone else, and I fell into myself. Blame, shame, sadness on repeat, 24 hours a day. But that's when Laura stepped in. Saint Laura, but a heart of pure gold. And she sat through every version of me, the weeping, the raging, the hopeful, the cussing. And she never left, even when I tried to push her away. For years, she told me about this place, the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living, and I said, no way. They're all going to hell. Because we were all taught in our Pentecostal church that this is a cult, right? So I wasn't going to go there. But Laura didn't give up. On New Year's Eve in 2024, she dragged me, invited me to a burning bowl service here. And I wrote my pain on paper, and I watched it burn. And the first time, fire didn't scare me, it freed me. That night, I didn't feel hellfire, I felt holy fire. And something deep inside of me whispered, "You are not broken, you are becoming." Since then I've learned that life isn't about escaping the fire, it's about becoming it, letting it burn away everything that isn't real. Now, at 64, I stand here in the glow of everything I've survived, a little bruised, a lot wiser, and wide open to love. I've learned God was never the voice that shamed me. God was the whisper that said, "You are enough." And the echo that followed, "I always was." So, here to the fire that freed me, to the friend who stayed, to the children who see me, to the man I've finally become. Here's to forgiving the past, to loving myself loud, to dancing to smooth jazz, and to never praying the gay away, just the fear. Because today I am whole, I am alive, I am grateful for every spark that led me home. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. I'd like to introduce now Wanda Jerome. I met her at the New Mexico State Poetry Society meeting and invited her to come, and she said, "Oh, I know that place. I used to go there with Unity."
Okay, here we go. Back down. How's that? Good? Okay. Oh my goodness, what a night. So much love in this room. Ever since I became sober, which was December 17th, 2021, poetry has flooded my brain. And since I'm also retired, I have lots of time, so I'm writing so much. And I really feel like it's channeled from my guardian angels, God, Mother Mary, so many poems about love and beauty. And yet I've also had to go back and live in the darkness of what it's like after a spiritual awakening to come home into the world. And so my next steps are moving through that and finding the beauty of my experience and just writing it out every day. But for this evening, what I wanted to do was honor two of my grandparents. I was with both of them near and at when they passed, and I'd like to share my poems with you. My first one is called Gracie. I had just left you 1 week before, lying in a hospital bed. It was what they'd said. You fell and hit the floor, unable to walk, broken bones and bruises, but you could still talk. It hadn't hurt your head. No need for any more. It was what it was. All's well that ends well. What the hell? How could you continue to work your magic spell? Your eyes sparkled that night like lightning, struck right through and into mine. I'll always love you, Wanda, you whispered. And I knew then you were there all the time, had always been with me, would always be with me forever. A few days passed as I can remember. Then one evening, near the end of the year, sometime between Christmas and New Year's Eve, I stood in my small kitchen and thought about how you needed to leave. How the kitchen was your most favorite place. How you always had a smile on your face. I could feel your grace loving me. Oh, how you loved me. My eyes were drawn to a pewter plate I had hung on the wall. It said, "If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen." The pewter design spoke words you often said. Just then, the phone rang. I answered, "Hello?" The line was dead, empty of any static or tone. In my hand, it became quite cold. As I hung up the receiver, the pewter plate took a giant leap and flew off the wall, landed at my feet. No earthquake, no wind. Then silence. Shaken, I hung the plate back where its hook was intact. Gathered myself. I thought, what an act! Just then, a force pulled me away. Something prodded me into the bathroom that day. There I saw my reflection in the mirror with a small housefly right in my face. Was it you I saw in my fervor? You or me or an angel of grace? Wouldn't have been unusual except we were deep into winter and this small housefly, what was it doing right there in the center? It looked at me probingly, like it had a message from a sender. What falderall! Then I knew it was you who'd made the call. You were on your way to heaven after all. You just stopped by to say that you were really okay. And I shall never forget the message that day. It was true. It was right. You knew in this life I'd forget to wonder. I'd take life too seriously. I could be quite a bother. And you'd always come through. That's when I'd remember this message you sent me. All's well that ends well. My grandmother, Gracie. Thank you. The second one is Lee. I cared for you in your last years of life, and I wished your remainder carefree of strife. I knew the end was coming soon, though mostly through visits to your solitary room. One of the last things you said took me quite by surprise. Don't be too hard on your students, with love in your eyes. That amazed me for sure, as you'd required a lot from students of yours through the years that you taught. The last time I saw you, I prayed you'd let go, that you'd release and relax and let your life flow, that you'd allow them to relieve your pain, that you'd die in your sleep and not suffer again. That morning, we readied to visit with presents. That morning, the phone rang. I picked it up. Silence. No matter how fast then we wanted to go, the car wouldn't move but a creep, oh, so slow. When we finally got there, I ran quick inside. I found you sat upright in bed, mortified. Your eyes were wide open, your mouth, it was too, as if you'd seen someone who'd waited for you. I touched your feet and your hands, they were all really cold. The top of your head, what a story it told. The heat almost gone now, your body would stay, but an orderly ran in and shooed me away. The gurney was brought and you just disappeared. I cried and I cried. It was mostly the fear that I saw on your face doesn't leave. For a man who loved God, I wondered and grieved. I guess in the end we all travel one way. In my heart, in my mind, you will always stay. And I often remember the message you gave me. Don't be too hard on your students, my grandfather Lee. Thank you.
It's been an amazing night. Just so much beauty, so much beautiful words, and the energy. This room has shifted from what we've done tonight. So I'll try not to mess it up. I read this poem just one other time here at one place, and I read it right here at Jack Blackman's memorial. His picture over there, it's unrecognizable because it's a picture of Jack as a young man. I love Jack Blackman. And I know everyone here loves him too. And that Jack Blackman loves every person here too. Jack is a poet, an artist, a teacher, a singer, a prince, a philosopher king, a mystic who drew deeply from the well of knowledge, experience, love, and deep compassion. A deep well of water abides in he. A deep well of water abides in me. A deep well of water abides in thee. Jack was my friend, my mentor, my spiritual father. I have another father who taught me many things, but Jack guided me on the path to spirit, at least as far as I've gotten so far. I learned many things from Jack, being a part of a spiritual family and all that it entails, and so many other things. But there is one particular memory of Jack that I want to share with you. I had just had knee surgery on my right leg. I was sitting up in bed, about all I was capable of doing at that point. Stranded there, not being able to move. I cannot drive because it was my right leg. I know that there was a long time before I'd be able to do that again. And I got a phone call from Jack. And I began to tell Jack my tale of woe. How I was confined here on my bed, in my second-story home. I couldn't drive, I could barely pull myself up and walk a few feet to the bathroom. And Jack interrupted my whining and said, "Goody, goody! You're finally getting to learn interdependence. Thanks, Jack. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, loving source, for the sweet but all too brief gift of Jack. Few of us know what effect we have on people as we journey through life. The ripples that move through the fibers of this world, from our actions to others we come across. But maybe, just maybe, Jack, perched now in his current frame of existence, has an inkling. Jack loved everyone, and anyone with any sense loved Jack. Thank you so much, loving source, for the gift of Jack. This next poem is about one of my grandmothers, one of my dad's mother. 20-year-old woman traveling alone on a ship called the Saturnalia, bound for America, the United States of. Far away from her tiny village of Elena, traveling alone with a multitude of strangers to become a bride of a man she does not know, to a place of mystery, a place she's been told holds so much promise to a young woman like her. This is her fate, made from family promises. It was to be her older sister's fate, but it's hers now. An older sister who had the temerity to say no, who already had a love she would not relinquish. So it is she who will fill the pledge of her family to be a bride of an American man born in the land of milk and honey, from a family that, like her, took the voyage that she's taking now just a few years ago. What will home be like for her now? Will the streets be paved with gold? Will there be enough to eat? And will her family have more now that they've been removed from the burden of her? What will her future spouse be like? Will he be handsome and brave, kind and gentle? As the ship pulls into New York's harbor, Ellis Island, she is swept into a rising tide, a small portion of the ship's cargo, into an island of detention, examination, and processing, moving forward into a new world, leaving the old one behind forever. Thank you. And I have one last one. It's from one of my grandfathers, her husband. So, if you're curious about how he turned out, his picture's over there too. He's holding a beer in his hand. That's the only way he would ever take a picture. Only if he had a beer in his hand. Otherwise, no, can't be, no. So this is called In Cahoots with My Nanuts. Sad, disconsolate child of 9 or 10 years am I. My plans for the day broken, torn away. And then my grandfather, my Nanut, said, "Would you like to go to the circus?" What? Yes. Wow. How? All these thoughts and words unsaid, a simple nod of my head, up and down. The circus had convened at the edge of town. How would we get there? My Nanuts had no car. I'd never seen him drive. Not sure if I asked this question, with words from my mouth or through my eyes. He laughed and started walking. I followed. We walked for what seemed like miles, like hours for this 9 or 10 or perhaps 10-year-old boy, way up Oak Street and down Bradford Road, far from hardship. It was a journey of wonder for me. It was an enchanting experience, a privilege for me to spend some time with this man of mystery, my Nanuts, a man who embodied the rocky hillsides of Acre in southern Italy, joined together with this child of America, his first grandchild. After our long journey, we arrived at the entrance of the circus. As I started to move forward, the entrance, I heard, "Not yet." We kept walking and walking. My heart fell. Aren't we going in? And then suddenly, as we reached the end of the rows of tents, my Nanut said, "Now." Grinning, he lifted up the canvas of the circus tent and beckoned me to come on. Scared, I moved forward, an outlaw, frightened about what we were doing, and awake with a feeling of adventure. Joining my Nanuts as a partner in crime as we snuck in together under the tent wall. As we walked back toward the sound and wonder of it, off in the distance of the big top. An amazing world of sights and sounds, elephants and pretty girls, clowns and peanuts, I think. I don't remember anymore. Thank you. Thank you all for a wonderful evening. I hate to say it, but our work here is done. Thank you all. Yeah. This one's on.
That one's on. Thank you all for coming. It was a very moving night. Careful on your way home, and we hope we will see you again. Thank you.
Amen.